Tottenham finally sacked Tudor. If the other mic was in front of my mouth, they finally sacked Igor Tudor and have appointed Zerbie as their new manager. Now, obviously, we are competing with them in a relegation battle. We do not have it in our hands to stay up at the moment. So everything other teams do, we're watching. Is this something we should be worried about? Have they got a manager that is going to finally get something out of that team and kick them on and stay up now? Because then that's another team we got to worry about. Should we be worried as fans looking at this relegation battle?
I'll be honest with you. I don't see the attraction with Zerbie. I never have. He's one of them managers, a bit like Thomas Frank. You know, he came in, he done okay at a certain club, but you know, he's not someone that I have like full confidence that can take this club and turn all their fortunes around. Like, I don't know who has got the tools to do that, to be honest with you. But yeah, short answer to a long question. No, I'm not worried.
Yeah, look, this is the thing, right? Whoever they get in, right, whatever manager they got, they always have a feeling of worry of, okay, well, it's a roll of the dice. There's a chance that they can improve, right? There's a chance it will work. But for the most part, with Zerbie, he's not a manager that's really built for this. Do you know what I mean? And he didn't win his, I believe, first 5 games at Brighton. If he does that here, then you know they're going to get relegated. And it's the third manager of the season. They went from super attacking Ange to pragmatic Thomas Frank
yeah.
to then something in the middle. Tudor, yeah. And now they've gone for Zerbie, who's a bit more of an attacking. So there's so many different styles in there, so many different philosophies. It's so difficult for the players then to try and jump on that and try and adapt. It's not going to be a situation of like, okay, we're going to adapt quick and hit the ground running. And he's got, you know, not the best track record at times when it comes to being volatile with players, with ownership. So listen, it could work. Obviously there's a chance, but I'm not sitting here. Well, I'd probably be more worried if they'd got Dyche, because he's been here, done it, like when it comes to this relegation battle. And I know people will want to say, just worry about West Ham. Don't focus on the other. People, it's easier said than done. You're in a relegation battle. I mean, if that's the case, it'd be pretty boring. I think that's the boring answer for us to say, well, it doesn't matter what anyone do. We just got to win our games. Just that's boring. Like with relegation battle, if another team gets an injury to a key player, we're talking about it. We're worried. We're thinking, oh shit, they've lost this player. That's big. You know, everything affects us. It's not in our hands. So what other teams do, we should focus. Well, not focus on, but we should take an interest in.
Yeah, we've got to take notice of what they're doing. But I'm going to be honest, like they're just rolling the dice. They're just hitting and hoping. Like Forest have done it 4 times. They've done it twice already. They changed from Ange to Thomas. They thought that would. Then they started becoming, you know, dragged into something that they didn't think they was going to get dragged into. Then they rolled the dice again and hoped that they'd get enough points. Now it's like, yeah, they're panicking. They're panicking. And I think we should, as you know, I know it's easy to turn around and say, just do what you're doing, but that's what we need to do. If we just focus on what we're doing, right, I'm sure that they're going to find it harder than they think it is to pick up the points that they need, because that is not a club that I would be walking into thinking like, you know, it's instantly changeable, because there's some deep-rooted issues there.
Yeah, no, 100%. And like at the end of the day, you know, for us to do, we're going to lose games of football, right? We're going to lose games of football. The problem is we just need to lose less games of football than them. So we need Spurs to keep, obviously, look, there's Leeds, there's Forest as well. But I've looked at Spurs as the worst team in the league, as the most, as that they're the biggest opportunity for us to stay up is them being poor. So yeah, Zerbie comes with a lot of baggage. There's got the Greenwood comments that he made that sort of carried him. That the fan base at Spurs is already split. I mean, a lot of them are getting shown up because a lot of them were pulling up Partey and Arteta defending Partey. And now a lot of them are bending over for Zerbie, who done I think worse for Greenwood. So that comes with its own baggage. So for these players who didn't perform for Ange, again, this ain't a this season thing. They didn't perform for Ange. They didn't perform for Frank. They didn't perform for Tudor. And now all of a sudden, they're going to put... Zerbie, I think, is a better manager than Tudor. But like you said, Nick, we were speaking on the phone, and you talk a bit about this as yourself, is like Tudor, he's been at a lot of clubs and not spent a lot of time, not really put down roots.
He don't spend long at each club. I think I worked out Tudor had 11 jobs in 12 years. And I think he's had 8 in 10. Like since 2015, 2016, he's had 8 jobs. So, it's not something that it wouldn't instill me with confidence. I think, as I said before, I think they would have just been better off sticking with the first option. They're just literally rolling the dice and hoping they can find something that can sort of get them enough luck to get out of it. It's a mess over there, but at the end of the day, we've got to face facts. We're in a similar mess. So, we've got to be there and we've got to be ready to sort of capitalize on their mistake, because they will, there will be a mistake. And, I don't know how they can expect, as you said, a new manager bounce, someone might come in and get them just over the line. But I don't see how they completely turn around from what they've been, what I've seen.
This is why I have to disagree with Jason's name. Just because he's committed 5 years, don't mean they're definitely getting a new manager bounce. Spurs, and I'll come to your comment in a sec, Corral, but Tottenham was so desperate, right? He didn't want to take the job until the summer, Zerbie. He saw the mess. He didn't want any part of that. What they've had to do to get in there, they've had to give him a 5-year deal with no relegation clause, right? So he don't get sacked. There's no breakaway. Like if Spurs get relegated, they don't go, right, we'll get rid of you for nothing. 5 years, £12 million a year, one of the highest paid managers in the Premier League. So they've had to bend over backwards, like the desperate club they are, to get Zerbie to take over the team now. The fact that he didn't want to take over this team now speaks volumes. He wanted to wait and see where the club were going to be in the summer, but he's done it because of money. He hasn't done it because he believes in the players and he can turn it around. That says a lot. He has no confidence in the team that he's got to work with, So that's big. Shout out to Corral, $4.99 super chat. Thank you very much, Corral. Even though if Nuno sets up to win and not avoid defeat each game, we'll stay up. All 4 relegation candidates will drop points. It will go the distance. Yeah, 100%. This is the thing, right? If we just win our games, if we just do, we've got a performance like Villa in us. That's the problem, right? We've got that in our locker. So we do need other teams to drop points, but we need to just bounce back against Wolves. Wolves is massive because we win that. Zerbie comes in to his first game in the bottom 3 and has to win at Sunderland away.
Yeah. He's got if we win, then he's got no room for error. So
that's it. So it is on. Look, there's a big portion on West Ham. Like for us, we need to see that and just go, listen, they can have who they want. They can have Pep Guardiola, but we're going out there. No one's going to work harder than us in this relegation battle. No one's going to fight harder than us because that's what's in our hands. Our performances, our effort levels is what's in our hands, right? If our position in the league right now isn't in our hands, because if we win all our games and they win all their games, then we're down. But if we do give everything and we give more than them, then we'll likely stay up. That was what is in our hands, And there is all the thing I said, we do bottle it, but like I said, what Iron says we can bottle it at times, and we haven't done it yet. That's the thing the Who do, right? Every single time we've had the opportunity to get out that zone, we haven't done it. And we need to prove we can do it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the danger. So now is the time, because if we don't do it now and they do get a new manager bounce, we won't be able, in touching distance, to capitalize on a mistake. At the end of the day, they're not the only team that we're looking at. There are other teams up there that can quite easily slip it. Like Leeds, Forest can have a couple of bad results. But we've got to be within touching distance. As soon as someone makes a mistake, we have to be there. So all the games that we think are winnable, or we can look at and say, that's possible to get, 3 points here. We have to do it. There's no room now for error. So
do you know what? And looking at it, I think this FA Cup game is a bit of an advantage for us having that game for them and the other teams that are not in these cups to go 3 weeks without a game, right? 3 weeks with no football, to then have to come back and get yourself up to speed and sharp, where we've got that extra game in between now, where we're going to have that extra little bit of sharpness and just keep us fresh. I think that works. Provided, touch wood, that we don't get no injuries. That's the only worry. We come out without no injuries. I think that's to our advantage, having that extra game in the 3 weeks and not.
Yeah. I think it's vital as well. Like, I think it could be one of them ones that sort of like define your season, because if you go into that and lose it, and you go into the next game sort of disappointed and thinking about, the opportunity you just had, it could be some. But if you win it, you're going into the next parts of the season like thinking to yourself, like, yeah, we've got something to play towards, we've got something to look forward to. Let's get ourselves out of this mess. Like, let's put in all the effort, and then we can concentrate on this big opportunity that we've got. I think it's like, I do think it's an advantage, but obviously, like, we have to make sure we just win them league games. We have to. Yeah. I think you have to approach them differently, but you have to do what you can to sort of take that momentum into, the next game.
I think as well, we're probably out of the teams battling. We're probably one of the most balanced in terms of defence and attack. You've got Leeds, very good defence at the moment, struggling to score goals. Forest, until the Spurs game, when they put 3 past them, were struggling to score goals. Spurs, terrible defence. Our defence have massively improved. And look, we're not free scoring, but we're able to score goals, I think, at a higher rate than, say, a Leeds or a Forest. So we've got that for us, I think, which is big, and we just need to go now with Somerville back. That's the other big thing, that's where we dropped off a bit. Somerville allows us to play in such a different way with Somerville and Pablo and Tati. When we had them free, even though Pablo and Tati, and people say they're not having them because they don't score and all of that, but with that combination with Bowen on the right, mate, we look like a different team.
Yeah, I agree.
We will score goals. We will score goals with them.
A couple of big performances in the next couple of games, and it could be, it could be the difference. So,
yeah, we just need to manage him. Manage him in that. We just need to manage Somerville well in that Leeds game. We talked about it a bit on, I think, Friday night, whether just throw him in or whatever. But that whatever happens is they need to just make sure that he is 100%. Like, if you're starting Somerville, I don't want him 70% or whatever. He's carrying a bit of this.
Yeah.
Make sure he's 100%.
He's got to be ready. Yeah, he's got to be.
Yeah.
He's going to, not break down again, because
that is
he's vital, and he's a player that can, he can change the fortunes of our season. So there we go.
And I said, us not leaving London very often in this run-in is pretty good as well. I think, like I said, not too much traveling and all of that. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah,
like I said, we could go to Wembley. The only worry is, I think we spoke about this before, is if we do go through in the cup, the worry is players will start to, pull out of tackles. Their mind will be on Wembley rather than the game that they're playing now. That's the one worry. But overall, like, in terms of togetherness and momentum, I think our team has it more than the others, especially more than Spurs. Like, I think that the morale has got to be polar opposites between us and them right now. I don't think they look at Zerbie coming in and massively excited and overwhelmed. They just go, here we go again.
Yeah.
Like I said, three previous managers couldn't get a tune out of them. Now, all of a sudden, they're going to fucking run through brick walls for Zerbie, who, is one of these. And again, they had Tudor was a disciplinarian. He was a scream and shout at you. That's what Zerbie is. So that tough love from Zerbie, from Tudor, didn't work. I don't see it working.
I think there's a couple of players in there as well that are looking at their futures and thinking, like, what does this future hold? Is this going to be the best chance I've got of getting out? Because they know if they go down, they've got to be sold. But if they stay up, they've got to, they've got to be shown to, at least be trying to stay at the club and, not, throwing their toilet at them. So, it all depends on what they want. Do they want to stay at the club? Do they want to make the club success? Do they want to make their self a success at the club? Or do they want just to move on and join a club with more chances? It depends, doesn't it? But what I've seen so far, there's no one in there that I could turn around and go, like, oh yeah, like they're fighting tooth and nail and they're trying their best. Like there's no one in there, and like all this lot of, I know Kudus is due to come back very soon, but they're relying on Kudus to be coming back and make the difference. You know what Kudus is like when he's facing sort of like a big challenge and like, you know, something like you have to sort of like do your best to get you know yourself out of shit. He doesn't fancy it. You know, he thinks he should be playing, you know, for teams that are challenging for Champions League. When he went out, they was in the Champions League and they was nowhere near relegation. He's coming back and they're out of the Champions League, and you know they're a win or two from getting relegated.
Don't forget, he's been out a long time. They're saying he might be back for the Sunderland game, but he's been out a long time. Like there's a level of match fitness and rust that he's going to have, you know. So that is something to consider. And the thing is, I think with De Zerbi, he built up a lot of his reputation from Brighton, which is what Graham Potter built a majority of his reputation on, right? And he looked fucking great. Everyone wanted Potter after Brighton, and what happened? We saw him after Brighton, and he was shit. And like they've done a good job, and Tony Bloom done a really good job at making like average managers and not very good look really good with their system, their recruitment, everything. And De Zerbi coming off the back of that, and they thought, oh wow, this guy he's the next guy. Like for Thomas Frank, everyone thought Thomas Frank was fucking a brilliant appointment for Spurs. Oh, Thomas Frank's the next guy, like that can take that step up or whatever to a high pressure club. De Zerbi's been in the same name. So why do people think that he's like De Zerbi's going to be different than all these other managers that took this step and failed? What makes him so special? Well, show me the track record.
Yeah, I've got no. The difference between Brighton and Tottenham is there's so much more freedom at Brighton. Like there's a lot less expectation. There's a lot less pressure. And, you know, there's a lot less riding on it.
Look what he went into at Brighton. I know, like, Potter sort of left them, like, in the lurch a little bit in the middle of the season, but everything was there. They weren't in a relegation battle. They weren't in a mess. They was in a good situation. Like, really, they was stable. So he came into a stable team, didn't win for 5 games, then started to pick up. Then started to sort of pick up where Potter left off and probably improved on and done a bit better than Potter overall, but not massively. And then ultimately fell out with the owner because he wanted all the control. And then, you know, and left. But if this is the thing, he can't have this 5 game. There's no time. There's no time to get gel and understand the team. He has to go in and get that team winning straight away. And all the Spurs fans that are all hyped because he's a name, because he was one of these black managers that was associated with Man United job, they're all excited. But just think, is he going to go and you win that game and then win that game and then win that game? If you don't win his first game, he's already going to have pressure on his head.
Yeah, that's it.
But for the money he's on and the contract he's got, mate, like he's going to be another one that they end up sacking him and having to pay off, and the circus continues. And if they go down... mate, they are fucked.
But only time will tell.
Oh, yeah, listen, like this could, and this is why I said to you, we do what we do. Look, he could come in and he could win all these fucking games and be brilliant. And then this comes back to bite us. That's how it goes. The game is the game, right? This is our opinions of how we feel right now. He can prove us wrong. He can. Of course he can. But we're not, what we're saying is based in things that we've seen it previously. You know, there's track record there. Like, we're not saying anything out of emotion. This is all out of logic and arguments. But we can provide counter arguments. So yeah, I must also say I'm going to put a link down below for Graham's fundraiser. I'll make Graham. Used to be on this channel, a regular on this channel. He's doing a fundraiser for Papworth Trust. He's going to be doing the London Marathon, I believe. He's going to be running the London Marathon. He's training for it. Yeah, he's going for it. So we're going to put if you want to donate and support Graham, he's raising money for a good cause doing that. So I'll put the link down below, and you can all support him. So if you're watching it live, then just come back after this video is published, and it will be there. I'll put it in the comments. I'll pin it.
Yeah, he's done it a couple of times, Graham. He's a glutton for punishment because I've got him under me. Fuck that.
It's so mad though. Like if you go back and watch like old videos on this channel, right, from like even 8 to 10 years ago, even probably like 7 years ago, he was chunky. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like now,
he's completely transformed himself. Yeah,
yeah, he's doing very well. He's doing very well, Graham. We see him at the Brooklyn night.
good old boy.
So, which speaking of that, you can still be in with a chance to win a signed Trevor Brookin shirt if you join and sign up to the members. There it is. Best wishes, Trevor Brookin there. So Trevor Brookin, beautiful shirt, look nice in a frame. The 83 shirt, I believe, Nick, right?
80 to 83, yeah.
80 to 83, yeah. That is when we didn't change kits every season.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can be in for a chance. So just sign up to a membership. It's going to be basically like a raffle, right? If you're on the fan favorite tier, right, which is the lower tier, you get 1 entry into the raffle. If you're on the cult hero, the middle tier, you get 2 entries into the raffle. And if you're in the legend tier, which is the top tier, you get 3 entries to the raffle, which last time it was one of our legends, Philip Demacoli, who won the signed Julian Dick shirt. So sign up, become a member, and we'll probably do the draw next week, I would say.
Next Friday.
We're not going to do Friday night pint next Friday because obviously we're playing Wolves, so we might do it on a Thursday or a Saturday. Post-match pint will probably be a Thursday. We'll probably do something on a Thursday evening. So do sign up. Like I said, click the join button, become a member. And if you want some retro West Ham tops or England tops, OK jerseys, do check them out, or the modern stuff.
Nice. Go and get your England shirts. The World Cup's coming.
So, yeah, listen, let us know. Are you worried? Because I've seen a few West Ham fans say, that's it. Zerbie's brilliant. They're going to do it. Are you worried about Zerbie, or do you think that it's just going to be the same old, same old? Yeah, listen, I don't need to. By the way, Joe, I don't need my mum to win it. I got her one. She's got a signed one.
Yeah, she's got one
herself. So I will. She, like I said, she weren't happy last time where I said the Julian Dick shirt, if she wins it, I'll disqualify her because conflicts of interest. So she weren't happy with that. But yeah, there is no shenanigans. It's a wheel. It's a spin wheel. I click the wheel. I have no control who it lands on. Oh god, that was fun making that as well. We're adding all the names in manually. So there is a way of doing it, right? Wolfie told me, but the problem is everyone who's a member has to be watching live for it to be automated. Like you have to be in the chat.
Really?
Yeah, like so if you're not in the chat, like it's a way. Yeah, it's a StreamYard thing. Like so if whoever's in the chat will pick it from the chat.
Oh, okay.
So do check that out. Like I said, we'll be back for Friday night pint tomorrow. That'll be a good one. And then build up to the FA Cup quarter final.
Come on, boys. Come on.
1 game away from Wembley.
We need something to cheer on. We need a little trip out to Wembley.
Besides playoffs, we ain't been at Wembley, in 20 years for a proper cup game.
Yeah, so, come on, the boys.
Come on, you Lions. So, yeah, we'll see you back here tomorrow. I will be I need to put up the extra time video with the boys. The amount of times I see people saying in the comments, who the hell are these people? It shows people that watch the fan cams. I'm like, how do you not know who these guys are? Literally,
yeah, go and watch them. The only people involved are people that is involved in fan cams and stuff. So
which you'll see them on Sunday. They'll be in the fan cams on Sunday. So, yeah, look out for extra time with the lads. Marshy, Big Dave, George, and Tony, I think, this week. So, yeah, brilliant. Thank you all very much for watching. One thing left to say. Come on, you Lions.